Steve, you grew up in Decatur.
That's right.
It's unusual to pick up a record album that we receive in the mail from one of the record companies and see on the back of it, I humbly dedicate this album to the city of Decatur, Illinois. These people that you mentioned on the album, such as Bob Ezrin and Dick Wagner and Robert L. Casper, are they Decatur people?
No, those are people who helped a great deal in shaping my musical career. In other words, Bob Ezrin is the producer that I've worked with for about 7 years, who also produced this album. And he and I have done a great deal of work together. Dick Wagner is the other guitar player that I met with Lou Reed at the time we were doing the Lou Reed tours. And he and I were like just the best of friends. Well, we still are. And we did a lot of work together. And the man named Casper is my lawyer, who has helped a great deal in terms of the legalities of all this stuff that, can get very out of hand at times.
When did you leave Decatur, Steve?
I left Decatur. The first time I left Decatur, actually, for any great length of time, was when I got drafted. And I had no choice in the matter, of course. So they sent me away for a couple of years. But when I got back home, I really got into music a lot more than I had before. In other words, it had become a lot more important part of my life than it had before, and I suddenly realized that it was really a major portion of me, So a friend of mine, John Sauter, who was also from Decatur, was playing with a group called Detroit, up in Detroit, Michigan, and he called me and said I ought to come up and, jam with the band and see what I think. So I came up there it was about a year after I got out. And we jammed, and it was really fun, it was really great, and so I joined the band, and then I moved back to Decatur for enough time to get my stuff together, and moved up to Detroit, and lived up there for 2 years.
So, you went to MacArthur High School here.
Right.
Got out of high school when?
I got out in '66.
And how long have you been playing that professionally?
Actually, I would consider the first professional gig I did was with Detroit. Yeah. So, professionally from about early 71.
When did you move to Los Angeles?
Now, I moved to Los Angeles just about 2 years ago.
What are some of the other groups you've worked with, Steve?
Okay, well, I worked with Detroit with Mitch Ryder, and then I worked with Lou Reed. We did a European tour with Lou Reed and a States tour, and in that time we had done an album with Lou, and then we did 2 live albums with Lou also on that tour. And then after that, I sort of did sessions, with different people. I did some Alice Cooper records for a while, and then the next thing I know, we're doing an Alice Cooper tour. So I did that Welcome to My Nightmare tour with Alice Cooper in 1975. And like I say, between about 73 and 75, I'd done a lot of records with Jack. I did a record with Jack Bruce. I did some records with other people that are basically unknown, just session work,
Mm-hmm.
Try to keep my hand in the studio. And then we did Welcome to My Nightmare album up in Toronto, and the band really felt good. It was the same band. It was the Lou Reed band.
Mm-hmm.
And the band really felt good, and so we decided to do the tour with Alice, and that pretty much takes me up to now. After 75, then I started getting involved in more studio work and started getting calls from record companies about, whether or not I was interested in doing a solo album,
mm-hmm.
which at that particular time I wasn't really ready yet. I didn't have material and things like that. So in that year that between 75 and 76, I did more sessions. I did Peter Gabriel's album, and I did Alice's new album.
Mm-hmm.
And by that time, I had gotten enough material together. I was ready to do my own record, so we went to New York, got a deal with Atlantic Records, and went into the studio and did my own record.
Mm-hmm. I'm told that you started music playing the Hawaiian guitar.
That's true.
Now you're basically a rock guitarist?
Yeah, pretty much, but strangely enough, that those Hawaiian guitar lessons I had, which were at a place, I don't know whether you remember it, you might remember it, there was a studio there called Stars of Tomorrow Studio,
mm-hmm.
With Heinz Johns and Mrs. Johns, his wife. Those are the people who taught me. I started taking lessons when I was 8 from Mr. Johns, who I always thought was a great guitar player. He really was a great Hawaiian steel guitar player. And the thing is, the things I learned with Mr. Johns, I still use a great deal today. Like there's certain finger picking styles and stuff that he taught me that no one else could have taught me.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, believe it or not, he was a major influence on the way I play today. I mean, all those things add up,
Oh yes.
But he was my primary influence, especially with finger picking and bluegrass and things like that, and dobro playing. He was really good at that stuff, and he taught me a lot of neat things.
You do some singing on this album.
Yeah, just a little. just a little.
What do you think is next for Steve Hunter?
Well, I'm getting together some plans now. I think I'm going to do my own tour. It depends on how well the album does itself. But I would like very much to go out and do my own show.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been kicking around some ideas with that. It'll take a couple of months to put together, anyway.
What about television? Have you done any television?
Haven't really done any television yet. We did. I've done like TV spots and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't really done anything. I haven't really done any kind of like in concerts or anything like that. I do have a second love. I am into acting a bit, which will be maybe an offshoot later on. But as far as playing on TV and stuff, I haven't really done much of that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any really good shows now that that are into good rock and roll kind of shows.
The song Jasper St Viaduct Guitar Rag is not really a rock song, but yet you consider yourself basically a rock artist. You wrote that one, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, and the reason I did was that my grandparents used to live over there by Jasper Street, and I used to go over to see them when I was a kid, and it's predominantly a black neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I was a kid, on Sunday mornings, the gospel music that you used to hear, the real gospel music from the church down the street, I used to just love that. I used to just love listening to that. And then after church, some of the older black guys would get together and kind of jam in the backyard, and it would be blues. But I didn't know that's what it was then. I didn't understand what it was, but I knew I really loved it. And so I'd been working on that tune for a long, long time. Just sort of as something for me to play with.
Mm-hmm.
And it started working really well in the studio, so we went ahead and recorded it. But that's where that kind of comes from.
What about Eldorado Street?
Eldorado Street was the reason I entitled that tune that is because it reminds me of when I was about 16 and I was cruising Eldorado Street, like everybody else does now, in the hot cars and stuff and parking and trying to pick up chicks, That's what it reminded me of. So.
Steve, thanks very much. Pleasure to shoot the breeze with you. We'll keep playing your album, and good luck with the album sales. And when you're back through Decatur next time, I hope you'll stop in and say hello to us at WSOY.
I definitely will. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve.
Goodbye.
Bye.